Yo guys, what is good? Welcome back to SP Vids. In this video I want to talk about the sort of behind the scenes of a brand new tape that I've just put out on SoundCloud. So probably a good place to start. If you haven't checked that out already, please go over and have a listen to that. You can kind of get the idea for this sort of tones and lo-fi-ness that I'm getting in it, and then you can come back here and I can show you how I actually got those sounds and how I made the beats. It's only a short one, it's about 6 to 7 minutes long. But yeah, I was really happy with it and it was good to get some music out again. So I thought it would be cool to do a video just basically on exactly what I did to get those sounds. So as you can see here, I've got 3 devices in the shot. We've got the PO-33, which I've been absolutely loving at the moment. And we've got the 202, which again, I've been loving that at the moment as well. And the SX, which is just always seems to be in my workflow. It's just a solid bit of gear, even if the love isn't there as much as for the other devices at the moment. It's not the same amount of love, but it's just a rock solid piece of gear to have in the workflow, so that's why that's there. So yeah, I'll go through how I made the tracks. Basically, sequenced all the drums using the PO-33. So the sequencer in it is really cool. It's got quantization in it. The only downside is you can't turn that off, as far as I'm aware at the moment. You are kind of limited by that, but I still managed to get quite a good groove out of it, just by changing the levels of notes and stuff like that. So yeah, really happy with the sequencer in this. Really, you can't really expect much for the size of this device. It's tiny, and yeah, it's got a lot of power though. So basically, slapped some loops in and that, recorded some drum sounds in, slapped some loops on, and then I also ran the sample into this. But what I did was I chopped it on there as well, but then I didn't sequence that in the sequencer. And if you see my previous video about the SP404sx, it's the same concept on there. I've got a video which is called something along the lines of how I make 90% of my beats on the SP, so I'll link to that, and it's the same sort of concept. I've got the drum loop going on the 303 through the sequencer, but then I just play the chops live and record as I'm doing the track, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like a live performance, and I like that because I like the idea of playing something and recording it. I think just from a background of being a drummer and play guitar as well, I like that idea of having something to do when the track's recording, rather than just sat there like listening to something that I've already made. So I like the performance side of doing that, and I think that's why I always end up playing my beats live when I record them. So yeah, the signal was coming out the PO-33, and I picked up these cables last week so I could do some more stuff with the 33. So this was coming out of the output, which I can never remember if it's on the left or right. Yeah, I think it's on the right hand side because the mic's over by the output, which I always find weird. I always think the mic should be over by the input so that I don't know, that just makes more sense to me. But yeah, this is the output, so you'd usually put your headphones in that side, but I was running this through it, and this was going into the back of the 202. And what I was doing with the 202 is using filter 1, which is just like my new favorite effect now. It just really like makes everything sound so crunchy. I will do a separate video just about the effects of the 202 very soon. So yeah, the signal was coming from the 33 into the back of the 202 with filter on it, and you can apply these filters to the signal. You don't have to record in to do it. So filter 1, filter 2 and ring mod, you can apply those effects to the signal coming in. So yeah, the source button was pressed. You press it and then you press hold, and that means that you can just have the source playing through it. Had filter 1 on that. And then using this ridiculously long 3-meter phono cable, I went from the line out of the 202 into the input of the SP404sx. And obviously for that to work, you have to have external source highlighted on that as well. You don't need to press hold to have external source constantly on the SX though, which is good. You just hold it, it's like a toggle, you just press it on or off. So that signal was going from the 33 to the 202 to the 404sx. This was its final part of the journey, and what I was doing is basically using this as a recording station. So we know that the pads on the SP, they can take a lot of sample time. I think it's pretty much unlimited from what I know. It's very, very long. You can get full tracks on these pads, and I was only making loops that were about a minute long at the most. So I was using this as a recording station, using record and choosing whichever pad I wanted to record it onto. And interestingly as well, when it was coming into the 404sx, I was using the filter drive effect, and I had both these knobs turned down to the left, and I just was using the left hand filter to just take out some of the harshness of the signal, because when you've processed it through these two units, they're quite sort of heavy on the high frequencies, especially because I was using filter 1 as well. I can never remember if this is a high pass or a low pass filter, but it looks like it's a low pass filter because it seems to be trailing off when it gets to the high. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, because I always get those muddled up. But yeah, once the signal was getting to here, there was a lot of high frequencies involved. So basically, yeah, that filter drive, it actually worked really, really well to just cut a bit of that out and make those beats sound really sweet. So yeah, all I did, recorded them live with the PO-33, and I was literally just sat there playing it out with the loop was going, and I was playing the chops with my fingers live into the 202 filter, running that signal through and out. So that was just basically an effects pedal. It wasn't doing any recording, it was just processing the signal. And then into the 404sx to record and filter and drive on it. I think on a couple of the tracks as well, I did also resample them and used a bit of MFX16. The reason why I did that was because MFX16 can kind of sometimes take the muddiness out of the mix. If you use the range dial, which is the left-hand dial when you've got MFX16 applied, the vinyl sim, it can kind of clean up the mix a little bit, and it takes a little bit of the bass out. So that's why I used that on a couple of the tracks, because they were a bit boomy once they got into here. So yeah, just use them to sort of tame that out a bit. And yeah, so basically once those were all on the banks, they're just WAV files. So I took the SD card out and imported them into Ableton, and then just laid them out as a tape on Ableton with fades in and fades out. Weirdly enough, I don't actually know why I did this, but I actually did analog fades with the tracks. I was actually fading them out and playing with the 33 at the same time. I don't actually know why I did that, because I could have just done it in Ableton really easily. But again, I think it just goes back to that idea of I quite like recording a performance rather than just recording a sequence that's already been built. So yeah, I did some fades with the dial, which was just fun to do. And then in Ableton, I did a slight bit of EQ on a couple of the tracks, just because, again, they were coming out a bit boomy. So I just took some of the low end off some of them to try and clean up that mix a little bit. But it was really, really minimal in Ableton. All of the sound that you hear in a tape is because of these three units, which just, as a three, these are actually an incredible trio. And to be honest, I can't see myself right now. I can't see myself going to making beats purely on the SX, just because this workflow was getting this sound that I just really, really like. So one thing, yeah, I also should know is that the PO-33 doesn't have a lot of memory time. It has 40 seconds. So for each track, I was having to delete all the samples to make a new one. So it's one track at a time with that thing. Very destructive unit, because once it's done, you know, once you've deleted off there, that's it. It's game over. If you've got something wrong, it's too late. But still a very, very fun piece of kit to use. So yeah, that's it for this one, guys. I just wanted to explain that tape. Again, like I said, I really appreciate if you could go and give that a listen. It's on SoundCloud. I'll drop a link below. And let me know what you think. Leave a comment below if you've got any questions about this workflow, if you've got any more questions. And also, if you're new around here, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, because I do lo-fi content every week. And it's based around all sorts of bits of gear like this. So if that's something you're interested in, please hit that subscribe button. Until next time, guys, I think that's everything that I wanted to cover. I'll be back very soon with more content. Peace!